Sorry about that. The video just randomly paused. I was saying, I was just thinking I wanted to give a little bit more to maybe the pot for the Battle of the Teams in the future. So maybe too, there might be something in here that we could send the chase for whoever the winner is. Okay, so it doesn't look like they're all vintage. Unless they just threw in some, maybe those are just filler cards, honestly. That might be what it is, I don't know. I got some modern cards. Well, from 07. Maybe there'll be some Islanders for the contest. So like, alright, so I guess there are some 90s. There is a Islander though. We can put him to the side. I don't know if these are just extras or what, but here's the older ones. We got Arnie Brown, Jean-Paul Parise. I don't know any of these years, so Charlie Hodge. Norm Ullman, I know he's a Hall of Famer, so that's a cool one. Art Ross Trophy. Andre Boudreas. Brad Park, he might be a Hall of Famer. Dennis Hole, I assume he's related to Bobby Hole. Mike Robitaille. Dan Maloney. Andre Boudreas again. So Rangers Canadiens quarterfinals, so I guess these are 74, 75 cards probably. Bruins Maple Leafs. Blackhawks versus Kings. Dick Redmond. Got a Capitals card. Boston Bruins. There's Craig Cameron, New York Islanders. We can look him up, see if he signs. Jua Whitting. Huh, never heard of him. I think I had this card signed one time. Ken Hodge Sr. Gary Unger. He might be a Hall of Famer too. Guy Lapointe. Jim Pappin. Mike Bloom. Don Selesky. Bill Goldsworthy. Nick Beverly. John Gold. Brian Hextall. And Jim Rutherford. And then we have a Radok Bonk. So those are pretty cool. Honestly, the vintage hockey cards, they're much more affordable than like baseball because they're just less popular, at least from what I've seen. Here we got a Mike Dunham New York Islanders card, so we'll set that aside so we can send that for the contest. I sent a few out, so Barry Beck, Dave Taylor, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Glenn Resch, Chico, I know is his nickname. Dan Bonar, Mark Pavlich, that's cool. I think he was on the 1980 team. Mike Lewitt, Fred Boymastruck, Tom Barrazzo, Dale Howardchuk, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Paul Coffey's a Hall of Famer. Rick Vave, Doug Wilson, Dan Douse, maybe. Rick Keogh, that's nice. Doug Jarvis, Barry Beck again. Rod Langaway, Hall of Famer. Michel Goulet is also a Hall of Famer. I know that one. Glenn Hanlon, Richard Brodeur, Dave Elliott, George McPhee, Kerry Wilson, Pat Verbeek, I think he's a recent Hall of Famer. John Tonelli, Al Secord, there's Bobby Smith, another Hall of Famer. Willie Huber, Joe Sorella, Ron Suter, I think the Suter brothers are in the Hall of Fame, I'm not sure. Walt Podubny, Gino Cavallini, Steve Casper, Clint Malarchuk. Of course, there's that famous moment where he had his neck sliced by a skate, and now they have those neck guards now, which is obviously a smart choice. I think he has a book out. John Tucker, I literally just sent to him yesterday. I did not have any cards. He hardly played for the New York Islanders, but I found one photo of him in a New York Islanders uniform, but it's just from the neck up, and you just see the border of his jersey. And then this card was one that a lot of people sent to him. If I would have just waited one more day, I could have thrown that one in there. But oh well. It's okay. And then Sergei Brelink. Cool. That usually happens to me every time I buy a box of cards or a card lot and I decided to go work on TTMs, there's always somebody that I find a better card that I could have sent that shows up. Sean Avery, Steve Thomas, Pat LaFontaine, Guy Lafleur, Hall of Famer, sadly passed away too soon. Mike McAfee, Stefan Richer, he just passed away just out of nowhere, really. Craig Janey, Bob Beers, Brent Suter. He's in Canada, so I'm not even going to try. Darren Turcotte, Mark Janssens, Jamie McCoon, Dave Gagne, and Broughton, Gayton Duchesne, I guess. Dave Babich, Yvonne Corval, Stefan Fizzett, Ron Tugnut, and Clint Malarchuk again. We got a mini. I think that's Wayne Gretzky, the great one. It's cool. Steve Yeitzerman, John Ogrodnik, Paul Reinhardt, Stefan Richer, there's Patrick Waugh, Steve Yeitzerman, Pierre Turgeon, Jim Johnson, Dave Reed, Joe Broughton, Yurki Lumi, I don't know, Sergei Fedorov, Dan Quinn. There's a Hubie McDonough, I think he signs. I've gotten him before. Hopefully we can send that one. Grant Ledyard. I don't expect to have probably more than 10 or 15 points, but I will give it a shot, guys, in the Battle of the Teams contest. And Brian Rolston. It's cool. The last pack, and we'll be all done, guys. Martin Erret. Okay, Pierre Bouchard, Billy Harris, that's the New York Islanders. Terry Harper, Rick Chartraw, Andre Savard, Richard Mulhern, Dave Burrows, Greg Pullis, Tom Eater, Bob Sirois, Bob Murdoch, Andre St. Laurent. There's another Brad Park, Rick Smith, Steve Payne, Ron Sedlbauer, Walt Takazik, yes, I don't know, Greg Shepard. This is one of those we have to scratch them off. I don't know who that'd be, but maybe Guy Lapointe or something. There's another one of those. Scratch off the name. This is for the Rockies, not the baseball team. They're more desirable when they're not scratched, so I just usually don't scratch them. You can look up, if you just get on there and look up the card number, you can figure out who they are, I guess. I do not know all the players, so. But maybe you guys do if you're Bernie Federko, if you're a hockey fan, and Scott Gomez. So yeah. So not a bad little lot of older hockey cards. I thought it would be fun anyways. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this little video with me and me trying to pronounce names that I have no idea what I'm doing and don't know anything about. Well, I know some things about hockey, but not as much as some. So I'll just look forward to trying to build onto this collection in time. I think next lot I'll probably be doing some football cards, I think, or next singles. I think I want to add on to the football collection. All right, guys. So thanks so much for watching. I'll have to string this video together for you, and hopefully you guys are having a great day. All right, bye.